Hey, so I'm gonna do the last video of the ayahuasca experience. It took me some time to really process it all, so I needed a few days, really. But here at my dad's house, this is where I came, and I'm on the roof right now. I just thought it would be a nice place to sit and make this video about the last day of the ayahuasca experience. So it was less of not beautiful. It was still a beautiful experience, but it was more of a, like, I had a lot of anger the last day because leading up to it, everyone was telling me like, oh, the first day it's like an introduction. That's like the first day, and the next day you're going to, like, the medicine is gonna take you and show you what it needs to show you. So I was a bit worried, I was a bit nervous, and I was just dreading it happening. And I did a rape workshop leading up. So with no ayahuasca, you know, the rape is the powdered tobacco, and they blow it into your nose. So I did that while I was waiting for the ceremony to begin, and that helped. It helped to, like, calm me down, tone me down a bit, take my mind off of it. But so the medicine, you know, they bring it into the it's called the Maloka. It's just like a little hut. It's got like maybe 50 beds in there. They bring it in. You're supposed to be quiet, and you just you wait for the medicine. They say anyone who would like to partake, come up. And so I immediately stood up. I was the first one up because I wanted to not approach it in this nervous way. I wanted to be bold. I wanted to be myself. I wanted to be confident. And so I got up, and I was the first one to take the medicine. And so the first night I took a tablespoon. So this night they tell you can take a little bit more. So I was like, well, a tablespoon worked, so I'm just gonna take another tablespoon. And if I need more, I'll take a booster. So about 2 hours in, I took the medicine and nothing was happening. So I was kind of sad. I was kind of anxious, like, oh my God, I'm not gonna get anything. It's not gonna work this night. I don't know what's gonna happen. So when the 2 hours, came, he was like, "Do you want the booster?" And I was like, "Well, how much should I take?" And he was like, "Just take half a tablespoon." So I took the half a tablespoon, and nothing was still happening. So I got kind of sad, and I went out by the pond because I was like, I need to go outside and I need to sit there. And so I get out there, and then I just start crying because I feel like I'm not gonna get what I need from the medicine, and I'm gonna go home with nothing. But they say, when you're crying or when you're yawning or when you're laughing, that's the medicine kicking in. But I just thought, oh, I'm just tired, and maybe the medicine was working, but I was like, I feel just like I'm tired. So then I told the guy, if it doesn't kick in a minute, I'm gonna take the rape. That can be used to push you into your experience. It can be used to ground you if you've gone too far and you want to come back. You can use the rape, or it can bring you back. It can ground you, or it can push you into your experience. So the first time I got the rape was a woman, and she held my head and she held my back and she held my hand, and she gave me a hug. So it was more nurturing. But this one, it was a guy, and he just like blew it straight into my nose, and I couldn't. It felt like someone just punched me in the face. So I just immediately fell back into this like, I don't know. It's just almost like I couldn't see anything. I couldn't feel anything, and I was like, yes, this is it. The medicine's gonna kick in. But I sat up quick to take the next shot of medicine. I mean, not medicine, but of the rape, and that hit, and I was out. Like, I was out. I felt like I could breathe, like, through my head. Like, I had like a hole in my head. It was my mouth. It was like here. And I was like, yes, the medicine's here. And so I was paralyzed. Like, I couldn't move. I was just laid out and kind of, with the rape, you purge from your nose. It drains out. And so I was pretty much paralyzed for like maybe an hour. Yeah. And I was asking for help, but people were just like walking past me. They couldn't even, I guess they just missed me. I don't know. But that made me mad, and so I was already upset about not having my experience. And then I pushed myself up, and I told them, I was like, look, I need to go by the pond because that's where Mother Ayahuasca is. I know she's over there. I don't know what told me that. It's just like, I know she's there. So I start walking there, I'm stumbling, and they're like, you can't go because the tiki torches aren't on or some shit. And I was like, what's all these fucking rules? Like, this is my experience. Let me have my experience. So then, you know, when you're in that state, you're very susceptible to suggestion. So they told me, they were like, hey, let's go sit on the couch. And I was like, no, I don't want to sit on the couch. I want to go to the pond. And they were like, hey, well, let's go sit on the chair. And I was like, all right, well, I'll go to the chair. That's fine. So I'm walking over to the chair, and when I get there, I realize they manipulated me. So I'm like, no, I'm going to the pond. I'm walking over there, and I get close again, and the guy's like, hey, do you want to sit in this chair? So before I get to the pond, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll sit down in the chair. And immediately I purged, like it all just came out. I started throwing up everything, and I threw up so hard that I broke the bucket that I was purging into. I just squeezed it and cracked it, and then I swallowed some back down, and so it wasn't complete. But yeah, I sat there for a minute because I was just like out of it. And then I got up and I told him, I need to go to the pond. I don't care about none fucking rules. I'm going to the pond. But before I got there, I sat down in the grass, and the lady was like, you're not going to be able to go to the pond. And so I took the blanket and I balled myself up, and it felt like I was back in the womb. It felt like I was a child again. And I could feel my mother experiences through the grass. Like, all I could feel was the grass. So I'm touching it, and I'm angry, and I can feel like my mother's angry. And later I asked my mom if she was angry when she gave birth to me. When I gave birth to me, but when I was in the womb. And we talked about it, but yeah, I just felt so helpless, and I still felt like the medicine wasn't kicking in. So this is what made me mad. Somebody came up to me, one of the volunteers came to my cocoon and started singing like close to it, and I was mad because I was like, I didn't ask for that. You know, you're interfering with my experience. But it sounded so nice. It was a very nice song that she sang. So I felt like that kid that's like, oh, you want some candy? And they're like, no, give me the candy. So I felt like a kid again. And then after she sang and left, I got out of the cocoon, and I just stared into the moon for like maybe 2 hours. I just stared into the moon, and I was laid out on the cold, wet ground, but it just felt like what I needed at the time. And the moon had like, it looked like an eye. Because you know, like when the moon has clouds, it's like a little circle around it, and then it had like a pupil. Like I think I saw a pupil. And I just lay there for like 2 hours, and I could think they were a bit concerned. They thought I might freeze or whatever, and I don't know, I might have. But yeah, it felt so simple, and I heard myself saying that don't be ashamed of what you appreciate about having like a simple life. Don't feel embarrassed that you don't need all these things that people feel like they need. And they told me, hey, do you want to go inside? Because I think they were a bit concerned I was out there for so long. And so I went inside. But remember, I didn't purge everything, so my chest was burning. So I get inside the Maloka, and there's a guy snoring. I mean, like sleep apnea, like can't breathe snoring, and it's loud. Like, but that didn't bother me. But then, like, the guy next to me, he starts complaining. He's like, what the fuck is that? Oh, fuck. Oh, this is some, what the hell? He starts complaining, and the complaining is, well, like, is louder than the snoring. So, I was like, yeah, I'm just go to sleep. And that kind of made me mad. But, yeah, I went to sleep for about an hour or two because my chest was burning. I got up, and the medicine should have worn off by now. So, I'm mad that I didn't have an experience. And I find a bucket because I was like, I need to purge, but all the clean buckets are gone. So I just grabbed some random bucket, and I'm trying to purge, and I'm sitting down, and I'm trying to purge, and it's hurting. It's going up and it's going down, and it's not coming out. So while I'm doing this and I'm feeling like shit, one of the volunteers comes over to me, and she's like, you should smile. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, this is my experience, you know, I don't feel like it. But I didn't say that. I just told her I'm not feeling well. And I realized in that moment I needed to go. So I told them to give me some earplugs, and I went off into the woods. I went like deep into the woods, deeper than I did the first day. And I just sat on this mat, and I wrote out everything. I wrote out my whole experience. And I felt so disconnected. I felt like I don't really I don't really feel a connection to people. And I'll say this too. When you're on the medicine, it's like you're more open to things. And I know what it feels like when I'm out of the country and people see me. You know, they see a person and they don't interact with like my skin color. I feel like a lot of times at the retreat, people would be scared of me. They would like, you know, they would see me and then they would kind of turn vert as. It's like, I know what that feels like to just be normal, like just feel like no one's trying to say something to me, you know, like, oh, what's up, bro? It's like, no, just say hello and just talk to me. So I got a lot of those feelings, and that made me feel kind of separate. But what happened is, one of the ladies I spoke to, she was walking past and she saw me, and I was in this mode of like, I'm not talking. No, I had the music loud. I was like laid out, and she saw me and she said, "Hey," and I didn't even look. I was just like, "Hey," and I looked. Then I looked up and I noticed she was still standing there, and she came walking over to me. I was like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? You know, what's up?" And I told her, I was like, "I feel disconnected. I feel like I'm this other here. I feel like everyone's talking about love and happiness and peace, and I don't feel it. I'm not getting that. I'm getting this other feeling." And she was from Iran, and she was telling me she knows how it's like to be an other in this country. So I connected with that. She understood that I'm not tripping. And she was like, what's wrong is you're doubting your experience. You're doubting that what you saw was what was going on. And it was something about her eyes, and I need to tell her this. Her eyes, it was like the pupil. It's like the pupil was like a toad's or a goat. It had like this horizontal kind of line, and it was just, I was hypnotized. I'm usually not like eye contact a lot, but I could not stop staring her eyes. It was like she had this like power or something. It was amazing, and I felt connected again. And if she didn't come over to me, I don't know how I would have felt leaving that place. But yeah, man, she really helped me to feel connected again, and I think she was a part of my journey with the ayahuasca. And then so she left, and another lady walked past that I never met. I saw her. I guess I saw her through the retreat, but I never met her. Like, we never introduced. And she was like, "Hey, good morning." And I was like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you." And she just stands there, and we're both just looking at each other. And I'm like, you know what? Hey, what's up? Come on over. You know, I want to hear about your experience. What did you do? What brought you here? And she was telling me all these things about how she struggled with addiction and for like maybe like 40-50 years. And she said that this was going to be it. She was going to end things if this didn't work. And I asked her, you know, not assuming that she got it. She said, yeah, I got it, what I needed. I'm going to go home. I'm going to clean everything out. I'm going to throw everything away, and I'm going to start fresh. And it was just amazing, like seeing her find this satisfaction changed my experience. So it was beautiful, and I felt like that last part was I needed to stop doubting what I see when I see something, and connect with people that I connect with, and not feel obligated to just like, oh, well, you know, they're treating me funny and I'm just going to overlook it. No, I'm going to interact with people that I connect with, and that's it. And that was my fault. I made some really good friends there. I'm going to keep in contact with them, keep checking in, see how everybody's doing. And it took me some days. I spoke to my mom. Me and my mom haven't spoken in, I think it was like 6 months. So me and her are working through our stuff now. I'm going to reach out to one of my friends who I hadn't spoken to him in 3 years. Well, yeah, and I'm going to try to just let everyone know it was an amazing experience, and I feel I'm going to do it again. It told me that the work wasn't done. That was one of the messages I got, is that it's an ongoing process. And I highly recommend anybody to do it, whether it be at SoulQuest or some other place. But the thing is, be careful and look at how they treat you, because sometimes that can interfere with your journey. So just if you want to talk more about it, just reach out to me or comment. I'll give you my phone number, whatever it is. I just want you to know, like, if you're feeling the call of ayahuasca, just reach out to everyone you know and try to figure out what are some ways that you can help, because that really altered my experience. Maybe for the good, but I just would rather you talk to someone. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you gained something from it. Again, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Just reach out to me, and I'll be happy to talk to you. All right, have a good one.